What if imposter syndrome was a good thing? What if it was a litmus test of, am I actually getting edgy enough? Am I putting myself out there enough?
One of the things you also have spoken about was imposter syndrome and how many of us actually suffer with it. Do you have a really cool way to describe it?
First, I want to start this bit of the conversation by saying something that I learned from Rich Litvin, who's one of my mentors. He's challenged the concept that imposter syndrome is a bad thing. What if imposter syndrome was a good thing? What if it was a litmus test of, am I actually getting edgy enough? Am I putting myself out there enough? Because if your life is a comfortable slipper all the time, creatively speaking, because we're talking about a lot of creativity here or communication, or if my life is a comfortable slipper, am I actually going to an edge where, when you go to an edge in that kind of stretch zone versus the snap zone is not where we want to be, but in that kind of stretch place, of course, there's going to be some imposter syndrome because it's new. So if you start to think about when imposter syndrome might strike, there's a whole episode that I do on this concept. This particular concept isn't mine, but like when you're the first, when you're the only, or when something's new, this is when this can strike, which for me links back to what Rich Littman was talking about, that imposter syndrome isn't a bad thing. It's because you're doing something you haven't done before. And we feel activated in our bodies. We might feel that adrenaline coursing through our bodies. We might feel our heart rates going up, like your armpits might turn into Niagara Falls. You might kind of be like, oh, because there's something at stake that you care about, which I think it's just a label that we've given it, but it can also be looked at in, I'm activated physically because there's something at stake and my body is giving me those neurochemicals and those whatever physiology it can support me with to give it my all. One of my oldest friends, Carla, she's a soprano, like not as in Tony Soprano, but like a singer soprano. And she's been doing opera auditions for 25 years. She said she still gets nervous. And she said, when I don't get nervous, I don't perform well. So it's almost like your body is giving you that rush of whatever it is that you need right now, because it's like you are on, girl, and you are going to go out there and you are going to blow them away. And I think if you're in comfortable slipper mode, maybe it's okay for a conversation or a coaching call or whatever else. But I think if you're, and I'm like snapping my fingers here, like if you are on and it's showtime, it's that extra zhuzh. So I think it's also about how we think about imposter syndrome. If we feel that this is something that is making us less than, it's giving us a disadvantage, that's one way to think about it. But I love that reframe of, what if you seek it out? What if you put yourselves in rooms where you feel a bit of imposter syndrome? Because that's how you're going to be elevated. Something will be called from within you to show up in a new sparky way. Will you flap, fail, pancake in those situations? Probably. But again, that's for me has become an indicator that I'm in a stretch zone. So I'm trying really hard to go against that narrative that imposter syndrome is something to be avoided, and really looking at it as, am I putting myself in situations and rooms where I get to feel that neurochemistry and that physical sensation of being on? And then I am that choice to put my ego to the side. And I know it depends on the situation, but I'm here to I'm here to stretch, I'm here to learn, I'm here to grow. And one little side note on that is, so many people are paying less attention to us than we think they are. They're in their own stuff. If we're in a meeting and somebody's speaking, if their turn is coming, they're thinking about what they're going to say. They're not like forensically looking at the quality of what I'm saying. So there's something also freeing about that.